Morning everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations. This is James, and it is a moist, soppy day here in Ohio. But let's go into the shop here and we'll show you something that we did over the course of the week that I'm quite happy about. And that is, seems silly, light. Gobs and gobs of light. We have converted our 4-bulb fluorescent ceiling fixtures into 4-bulb LED ceiling fixtures. The old bulbs were 40 watts a piece, 4 of them in each light. It had what was called a warm daylight Kelvin setting. Kelvin's a scale that you measure the color of light. And these are LED tubes. They are 24 watts a piece, so it's going to take less power to run them. We don't have the energy inefficiencies that go with the old ballasts, and they are a 5000 K color temperature, so much more of a daylight slash white kind of a look. Fairly straightforward. At least these 4 up here in the front, they had 1 ballast in them. So when you cut the ballast out, basically you've got a hot and a neutral coming in, and then coming out of the ballast you have 2 yellow return wires, and then depending on what brand of ballast you have, you've got 4 wires coming supplying out to the opposite side of the tube. So for these, you just took, it doesn't matter which one, you took the hot and connected it to one side of the tombstones, the little holders for fluorescent tubes, and then you took the neutral and you connected that to the other one. So you had 3 wires on one side and 5 on the other. These are LEDs, which means you don't use the ballast, you cut the ballast out, and these are powered on both ends, and that means that you have to have your hot wire on one end and your common wire or your neutral wire on the other one, so the electricity flows right through it. There are LED bulbs that you can buy that use the ballast. That seems silly to me because you're not really gaining any kind of power, gaining a little bit of power efficiency, but not so much because you're still having to power that ballast, and the ballasts, they have issues. At least I think they do. So now these here in the back were a little more of a challenge, because when I opened them up, they had 2 ballasts in each light. Now, in a lot of office applications or commercial applications, you'll see that, because they want to turn half the lights off for energy savings, but they want lights on so that they can, for security purposes. And you can do that if you have a 4-bulb light that has 2 ballasts in it, then you can turn half of them off. These weren't wired that way, so I don't know if they were surplus. I don't know if it was what was in stock. I don't know the story behind when they lit this and they wired this up in, I think it was 2003 is when this shop was built. So what we ended up, it got to be quite a mess. I ended up having to go online and find a wiring schematic for the way a 4-bulb 2 ballast system is normally wired. And once we got that figured out and I understood what was going on, in my configuration, what I ended up doing was just running the line to one side and the common to the other side, and then there were 6 wires on each side plus the line and the common, and that works. Again, you're just trying to supply electricity from one side of the LED to the other side of the LED. Our output has increased. These 40-watt fluorescent tubes, when they're running at their peak, And when you have a ballast that's running at its peak as well, will put out about 2,500 lumens. These are putting out about 3,000 so a piece. So it's brighter. I mean, we have a, you know, I don't have any super duper hard shadows. The shadows are fairly soft. I've got two lights that are running one direction here in the back, and then I have two lights that are running 90 degrees to that. These are going to be in the clean area, so there will be a wall put up between there. And I've also got enough bulbs so that if I need to, we can build us a couple of lights, or maybe one big light even, that we could put kind of right there if we need to do some supplemental lighting. I don't know, I got 5 or 6 different ideas about that on what we could do, but that took just because of my crazy schedule and me being the dad taxi, that took about a day and a half, just because, again, you'd get one light done and like, oh, got to go to the orthodontist. You know, take your child over there and they, you know, jam big metal instruments in their mouth, and then you come back and you get another one wired up, and then guess what? Well, now I got to go to marching band. You got to take care of that. And then you come back and you're like, oh, I got to build a stage. We're doing a set change. I mean, it's just silly. But that was the big accomplishment for the week, as far as the Rattle Can shop. Steve, friend of the channel, known Steve for 20 years, came down and helped us re-roof a garden shed, and that took a couple of days as well. For some strange reason, we have a storage shed farm kind of in the back. And the shed on the left was not having a good day. They were sided with OSB. You know, they're sheds. They're built to be pretty, you know, they're built to a price point, which is like nothing. And so it was sheeted with OSB, and the OSB had gotten wet. So we started taking shingles off. Well, part of the reason the OSB got wet is because, guess what? No tar paper, because again, it's a shed. So we took off 75% of the sheathing, replaced it. Now we did replace it with OSB, but then we tar papered it, and then we re-shingled it, and then the middle one's got some repair that needs done. The one on the right's just fine. So that took up a couple of days, and that made the Mrs. Rattlecan very happy, because now her garden shed doesn't leak like a sieve. So that's kind of what we did this week. We did some more wood organizing, and that was about it for the shop this week. The stuff that's here actually in the shop. Now, I did spend probably half a day doing something exceedingly boring, which is called file maintenance, because of this new media server that we've built. I'm now having to organize things a little bit better, and that is boring, horrible stuff that makes you just want to jab your eyes out. Because you're just sitting in front of a computer and you're clicking and you're moving your stupid little mouse, you know, for 3 or 4 hours. And you know, in the end, it'll be nice and it'll accomplish something, but while you're doing it, it's just horrible stuff. So anyways, that's what we did this week. We did finish painting our work surfaces, and this is a textured outdoor paint, so that when we put our carpet pads down on them, they're not going to go sliding anywhere. it's a protective cover. It's not here to look pretty. Same thing over here in the back. This is where we had to plug up where a sink was. And again, it's a protective cover. It's not really meant to be pretty. But we did try to keep the rattle can orange on that back piece of cabinet. So anyways, that's what's going on. I hope you guys are going to have a great weekend. Looks like it's feast or famine for the weather. It's either going to be really nice, or if you're in Texas and areas westward of that, you're basically just melting. So stay inside, try to stay cool, and be as productive as you can be. Guys, have a great weekend. This is James at RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations. Cheers.